Hi, I'm Mike, Kilo 3 Delta Oscar, with another video in the Meshtastic series where we're using these tiny devices. In this video, I'm going to walk through the iOS app that you use to communicate with these devices. It's a little different than Android, so I wanted to walk through them both, and we can walk through the complete radio setup just like we did with Android. All right, in this episode of the Meshtastic series, I'm going to have this device, this little T-Echo device, which is what I carry around a lot with me. And I'm going to have my cell phone, and you can see on the screen, you can see my cell phone, so you'll be able to watch what's going on. What I want to walk through is the iOS app. So this is what I'm connected to, just so you know. I'm not really going to use it. You're not going to see much of it here because nothing really changes on it. But I want to walk through the app itself and how you can configure your device. So I'm going to move the phone over here where I can see it. And sorry if I'm looking down while I do this, because I'm going to be talking and using the Meshtastic app. So when you first get into Meshtastic and you get connected to your device, so that's the first step you have to do, is get connected to your device. And I'll do a video on how you can connect as well. But you sign into the iOS app and you see right here, so this is called my LilyGo right here. So I call this one my Lily YG1, and it's short for K3L1. So that's part of my call signs in here. Call signs aren't required, by the way, inside of Meshtastic. They're just there if you want to use the amateur radio. So I've stuck it in on mine. I'm not using that, but if I ever decided I wanted to, I'm covered. So that's why I did that. So anyways, connected via Bluetooth right here, and you can see it says the device, and that's what I'm connected to. So down at the bottom, you see there's 5 options. You have messages, which you see I have 2. And I also have, let me find my device here. I also have this device that I'm going to send a message back and forth with, so you can see the demonstration of how it works on the phone. So the very first one says messages, and you see I have 2. That's because I've been testing and making videos and stuff, so I still have 2 of them there. You have Bluetooth, which is what I am in right now. And then you can click on nodes. And nodes, it shows you everything that's connected. So right now I'm directly connected via Bluetooth to the very first one, the K3DO, this one right at the very top, Lily G1. So it says Bluetooth connected. So I also have a T-Deck, which I just did a video on. So you see it's connected. It's good signal strength right there. And it sits 150 feet away, which I don't know how it knows that, because the T-Deck doesn't have a GPS on it. So interesting. Still not sure how it knows that. Maybe because when I set it up, my cell phone gave it that. That's probably what it is. So you see other ones. I have these 2. I have 2 little help devices. I don't have one sitting here, so I can't grab it. But I have 2 little devices I've been testing with. I have the Messenger, which is what I have right here, and then I have the T1, and I have another HELT, and then the gateway that's currently in my attic that I have set up. And you can also see it's been a while since it connected. But down here at the bottom, you see the Maryland gateway. So last time I was in Maryland is when I last heard it directly. So, and interestingly, you can see this is a good example. You see the little dot down at the bottom. I was 9 miles away inside a hotel room whenever I got that. So, yeah, it's a really, this is amazing technology. Almost defies the laws of physics sometimes. But anyways, there's the nodes, and you can click on the different nodes. And you can get some detail about them. You can get them what they are on the map, like the node map. You can see there's my village where I live, and you can see all the different devices. So there's that. You can see the position log. This particular device doesn't go anywhere, so it's always going to be here. You can look at the metrics of the device. So there's all these things you can do about each device. These devices send out these details, constantly. You can see right here that the T-Deck has 5.18 volts. That's because it's plugged into USB. A good signal. So yeah, you can see all the details about these different nodes. Like I want to go to Messenger. Let's see where I am here. 87% battery. So this Messenger is 87%, 4.09 volts. Gives you this little idea. So it's actually inside the Messenger. If you watch the video, it actually uses the rack cards. So it looks like a rack. That's why it says that. So anyways, this is the different nodes that you hear. And if you're actually on MQTT, which is a whole different video, you can actually get nodes from all over the world too. So, and then you can go over here to the mesh map. You can see I just got an update. Messenger just reached out, and the gateway just reached out and sent up updates, so you can see them move around. If you go to the mesh map, let me find us. So there you can see the gateway. I don't know what's going over here. That's interesting. Where is this going? Oh, apparently I have some kind of node from Nepal. I don't know. It's interesting. Not sure. This is the good thing about live video. All right, so you can see all my nodes are here together. And in Maryland, I didn't connect any nodes in Maryland, I don't think, other than mine. Which means that there was no other nodes in the area that it heard. Otherwise, I would have gotten those two. Let's get out of here. So there's Maryland. I don't think I got any other nodes up there. All right, there we go. Just mine. Yeah, so all these nodes are mine. Me traveling up, you can see that's where I was at the hotel, down here at the bottom, and that's where the node's at on the mountain up top there. So, all right. So, anyways, that's the map, and then let's get into settings. Let's do messages first. So, settings takes a little while. All right. So we go to messages. You see, I have one message in a channel. So my main channel right there is test. You can see it came from the messenger before. So let me go ahead and send a message real quick. Tab. I'm still getting used to the keyboard, so just give me a second. There. All right, gonna send it. Sending. there it shows up. Sorry, that was the T deck back there. That was it plays the A-Team theme for some reason. It's kind of funny. So anyways, I just sent that from this device, and you see it on the screen there. And I can reply back. This is easy. So I'm going to send it, and we're going to wait for it. So you see it's waiting to be acknowledged. Okay, there it is. So it's been delivered. That's what you're hearing, is this thing going off. So I'm going to quiet it down, but the message says hi there messenger right here on the screen. So that's messaging. And then you can see, well, I have set up 3 different channels. So main and the mid-Atlantic, I'm sorry, not main. Oh yeah, main. All 3 of these go through MQTT now to the site on the mountain. So they all connect together. I have long fast turned off right now, actually. Long fast is a very, I don't want to say it's really busy, but it's a busier channel. So when that's turned on, I get a lot of stuff, and I don't want to do that for the video. So, and then the other thing you'll notice is there's also direct messages. So you can send somebody directly. So that's why I did this T-Deck. I did a video earlier, I couldn't figure out what I did. So this is a direct connect with a T-Deck. But you can see I have other ones in here that I've sent directly. Let me see if I can do it on here. What is this one? T. Go one. All right. I'm just going to send a real short one. It says hi. And here you see I got a direct message from Messenger. So there's Messenger. You can see I just said hi. I know you can't really tell probably, but on here it says hi as well. It does say on here what you're getting. You can't reply back. You can still see what it says on there. You just can't reply back. So anyways, that's messages. So you can send it to anybody you want in the channels. It's like a broadcast, or you can do individual to individual. All right, let's go through settings. So at the top here, you see you have about Meshtastic. You can get the versions and all that. But you can see on down here at the bottom where it says configure, we're configuring the LilyGo 1. The thing about iOS is I can't, and maybe you can, I haven't figured it out, but you can't connect to more than one Meshtastic device at a time. Or Android, you can keep a whole bunch of them in your list, connect to them, which is why I use Android to configure everything but this one. So, all right. So this first one is if you have friends and you want to share how your channels are configured, you can just have them take a picture of this, and it will automatically, provide them the channel settings, which is good. Makes it easier. So when we get down to channels, you'll see that it's a little complicated to set up. It'd be easier if you just could tell somebody what it was. All right, so then we go into user, and this is where you can set your name for your device. So you see it has two names. There's a short name and a long name. You see me, I put my call sign in the long name just in case I want to use the option at the bottom says licensed operator, which gives you some more options with Meshtastic. So I'm not using that here. And then you can see the short name, which is what shows up in the little circle inside of Meshtastic. So and then at the bottom, if you're a licensed operator, you could turn that on. You can change the frequency, change the transmit power, and all that kind of stuff. But we're not going to do that. So, all right. So we go back to here. But by the way, when you're done with making your changes, make sure you hit save at the bottom. In many of these options, when you hit save, you'll notice the device reboots. So you need to give it time to reboot before you make any additional changes. All right. So we get down to LoRa. And basically, the default is long range fast, or that's the default protocol we use. And I don't change that because I think it's the default, and most people probably won't change it. So I've been leaving it at that. I just use that preset. Make sure your region is set to United States. If you don't do that, when Meshtastic comes up, it'll say unset and it won't work. So and then right here you say you want to enable transmit. So if you want just a receive only device, you can do that. You can turn off transmit. And then here's the option for setting the number of hops. Like I mentioned in a couple of videos, how many hops it can do. So default is 3. I don't change the default. I'll leave it like it is. All right, and then LoRa channel number, I just leave it at 0. I do turn on the boosted gain. I do not override any frequency, and I keep the power at as high as it will do. If you wanted to save some battery life, you could lower that. But if you're not doing a lot of transmitting, it's not going to really help a whole lot. So again, make sure you hit save. Again, it will reboot for this one. All right, so now we're getting down to channels. So this is where you define your channels, and there's a lot of setup in a channel. So let's look at the first one here. You have your channel name, and then you have your key size, which I just leave it as a default. And right now I'm using the default key. The default key is AQ ==. And then you can say what the role of the channel is. And in this case, it's primary. You always have to have at least a primary channel. And then if you turn these uplinks and onlinks off, this is the MQTT link that we was talking about before. So I've turned all that stuff off for the video. And then be sure, again, hit save. This does not do a reboot, by the way, when you get out of it. So let's get out of this. Let's go look at another one. I'll create one real quick. I won't save it, but you see here, you can put your channel name right here, and the key size will be default, and it will generate a key for you. So the default for Meshtastic is AQ ==. So if you want to talk to the Meshtastic, other people in Meshtastic by default, like long fast, I would leave it AQ ==, because that's what everybody else is going to be using with the long fast channel. And then you have the, again, uplink enabled, and you see it's secondary. You can only have one primary channel. So I'll go ahead and get out of this and get back to normal. So again, here's long fast. This is the default when you first get your device. It's going to have long fast as channel 0. And with that, that's the default. So I would leave that in there because anybody in your area is going to probably be using long fast. In my case, I actually made it number 2 because the main channel is the admin channel, and I do remote admin. So I made that across MQTT to come back to me so I can do remote admin on it. So that's why it's not there. That's a future video maybe of remote admin. All right, so that's channel setup. So rather than telling somebody all this, you can use that QR code. That's what that Advantage does. It does it all at one time. All right, your Bluetooth setup. Not much to do here. It's enabled, and it's just not much really to do. You can set your pin if you want, but I just let it do its own thing. Then we have the device. So in this case, the device role I have is client. But if you were connected to, or you wanted to be like, here I can show you the different options. Router, you can do router and client, which is what most of my nodes are that are that are rebroadcasting. Like anything that's connected to MQTT is a router and client. And then there's also a repeater, which is the router and repeater are a little confusing to explain. I get it now, but I would just stick with router. The repeater doesn't show up it just repeats. So it's just a different way of doing things. But you can see other ones here I haven't even tried, like lost and found, or tracker or sensor. I haven't used any of that stuff yet. So it's best to keep either client or router and client in this case. All right, so then you also have rebroadcast mode. You can change what you want to rebroadcast. So I say all, or you can say I only want to rebroadcast the people that I know, the ones that I know, or the ones that are local, things like that. So I just keep it as all. Double tap as button. Let's see. I don't think I have that option on this device. And then here's the other thing about the managed device I was talking about. Like I do remote management of the devices, so this allows you to do remote management. And then keep going down. By default, the serial console is on. It doesn't seem to hurt anything. I do not have anything set up on the serial console on mine, but by default it's on. Debug log makes it much noisier, from my understanding. I haven't had need to debug anything, so it's just never had even tried it. And then some devices have GPIO pins on them. So you can set up what GPIO is, the buzzer. Like this device I just made the noise on has a buzzer. So it has that set. Same thing with the button GPIO. There's a button you can set. Then down at the bottom you see reset node DB and factory reset. Of course, factory reset's kind of known, right? But the reset node DB is when I first connected to the MQTT server, I had hundreds of nodes in here that I didn't know who they were or whatever. So I wanted to clear it out to test with my link up to Maryland. So that reset basically deletes the nodes and it relearns. So you saw in my node list that there's a lot of nodes in there. There used to be a lot of nodes in there. So when I was first learning Meshtastic. So that's how you can clear it. All right. So the display in this particular case, interesting about this display is an e-paper display. So that's why the battery lasts so long on this thing, is it doesn't require the display to be on all the time. So a couple options you have. You can always make the arrow point north, or assume that the north is always up instead of where you are. You want to wake the screen on tap or motion. That's a good thing to do. I don't need to do that on this device because it's always on. The display is always on, so that's why it's turned off. And you can flip the screen as well. And then you can change the OLED type if you know what it is. Automatic detection seems to work on everything so far, so I haven't had I haven't need to do that. And then you have your timeout for your screen to go to sleep, except for 10 minutes. Again, this device doesn't go to sleep. Even when the battery goes dead, it stays on whatever it last was. So, and then there's the carousel interval, GPS format, and display units. You see I'm using Imperial, but if you're not here in the United States, you may be using metric, so you can just come in here and change it. By default, it is metric, just so you know. All right, so that's the display. Now we get to network. So here's the thing about the network configuration. This one's not network config because I'm using Bluetooth. Most of these devices, the chip in there that does the network is also the Bluetooth chip. I can't do both at the same time. So in this case, I don't have the network configured, but you could configure it into your Wi-Fi network as well. And that's where you could use, if you do that there, the phone won't work. So that's something you got to remember. Some of these devices, like this device, I could do that with and I wouldn't probably care because I only use the phone to configure it. But you can configure it via the web interface, which is another video, again, we'll do. And then there's the position. In this case, this actually has a GPS built into it, so I can use that. But if you don't, you can use your phone to set your position. So in my case, I'm setting every 5 minutes, I'm sending out a packet saying where I'm located. Let's see, minimum broadcast interview, minimal distance. So this is the smart position. So if it doesn't move more than 100 feet, it won't send out a position, things like that. So you can set up some things to save some battery life on transmission. If you really have it attached to power or you want to know true updates, I'll turn that off. So if you're trying to track something, you do that. And then I don't really have any, I have altitude and vehicle speed and heading. I'm not sending out like sequence numbers or number of satellites. Actually, you know what? I might want to try that. I'm kind of curious. So what that one does, I'm going to do that. Let's see. There's other options in here for your GPS consider. So down at the bottom, GPS is enabled. This one has it built in. Sometimes you have to specify what GPIO pins you're using for those, but most of these devices that come like from LilyGo or that stuff you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's all done automatically. All right, so I don't want to save it because I'm going to reboot with this one, so I'll come back and do that later. All right, so here's some other configuration: ambient lighting. Of course, it doesn't matter for me because I'm on the white, paper display. So, but you can sometimes you can get that configured as well. Canned messages. This allows you to like create like auto responses, kind of like on your cell phone when you send text, and how you can send them and stuff like that. So this is how you can set up what those are in here. So you can come in here and you can define messages. Do you want to, first of all, you need to enable it, and then you can send bells, or sounds and stuff like that. So there's some of these devices have rotary knobs on them. I don't have one here. It does, where you can like pick the message you want to send back, and by turning the knob and click it, and it'll send that canned message back. So that's what that's for too. So this is how you configure all that stuff. I do not use the canned messages. So there's also the ability to do sensors. I don't have any sensors configured for this because this device doesn't have any sensors really. But that's part of the idea of LoRa was sensors. So this allows you to connect a sensor. It could be like a temperature sensor or something like that to Meshtastic, and it would send back the details as well. External notification. Well, that's what this thing has. It has a buzzer. So that's kind of configured. So you can turn it off and on in here. You can see when you receive some message, receive a bell. Is it a buzzer? So you can see you can configure it all here. Some devices do, and some devices don't have this. So it depends on your device. And they generally give you instructions on how to set it up too. Okay, let's see. MQTT. This is a whole other video, but what this does is it allows us to connect to a messaging server in the cloud and send these messages over MQTT, which is a protocol for sending out messages. Basically, so I don't have it turned on right now. In this device, I actually have it in my gateway now, so I don't really have to turn it on in here anymore, anyways. But your cell phone can act as that gateway. So if you're traveling and you still want to use the Meshtastic network, you can carry this device with you, turn it on in your cell phone, and using your cell phone data, and it's very minimal data, so don't worry about that. But it's because it's just text messages. You can still use MQTT as you travel using your cell phone and the internet. So that's what that is. I have a whole other video for MQTT, so I'm not going to go into great detail here. Of course, there's range test. You can be careful with this because it sends out annoying messages, particularly if you're on MQTT. Everybody will get it. So I use this around here. I'll go out and take a golf cart out or something and drive around and see what kind of coverage I can get. So, all right. I'll do a video on range test too because I do a lot of that now. Of course, you have ringtones, which I think is what's happening with the T-Deck. I'm not sure. I haven't figured that out yet. The T-Deck is new to me here. But you can set up ringtones. There's a serial interface. Most of these devices don't have a way to do it easily unless you're using, like, you took it apart or you soldered onto something. But it has the ability to do serial. I mean, inside of these are either like ESP32s or rack devices. So it's all small electronics that they use, like with Arduinos and stuff. All right, serial config. Store and forward allows you to store messages. I do not do this. I never really experimented with it, but basically allows you to store a message that you receive and you can't deliver until a later time. So, and you can set like how many records you want, stuff like that. So I need to dig into more of this. Maybe I'll do another video in the future about store and forward to learn how it actually works. Let's see. And then you have telemetry. This is where you can get sensor data. And this is kind of like I was talking about before. The external sensors allow you to like take temperatures or voltage readings, things like that. Some of these devices already have voltage reading telemetry coming in automatically. So if they do, you don't have to worry about adding anything additional. But you may have some kind of sensor you want to put somewhere using Meshtastic. So that's what that is. Of course, you have the mesh log right here. And you can see everything that's happened in the mesh. You can still see it's still active because it's interacting with the mesh network here that I have. And then you have the admin message log, which I don't know what's even in here. No, it's like a ringtone. It's just admin things like you're doing. So that's the settings. It's a lot to take in. I get that. And the mission we got to focus on is all at the top. The user data, LoRa, which is probably going to be set okay. And then the channel configuration is very important as well. Most everything else is probably going to be by default able to work right out of the box. So, All right, this is kind of a long one, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have this long one too with Android as well. So, but this is the iOS app. It's a free app. You download it off the iOS App Store and connect it up to whatever device you get, whether it's like one of these or a T-Beam or whatever. I noticed these are getting a little hard to find right now. The T-Beams are pretty easy to get still, though. And there's and you can make your own using the rack hardware too. That rack hardware is awesome. It's low power and everything. So I have another video coming up here soon about a solar node that I built using a rack. So it works amazingly well. Anyways, thank you for hanging in there for this long video, and please click the subscribe button below and click the like button for this video, and be sure you click the little bell icon too so you get notified when the next video comes out. Everybody have a great time playing with Meshtastic. We'll see you in the next video.